Good morning, Brandon Bonhoeffer here with On Focus. We are outside City Hall this morning to give you a little bit update of what took place at the Common Council last night. One of the major things that was decided on is Common Council turned down a vote to give an $80,000 donation to PDC. This vote did not come easily. There was actually 3 motions that were drawn before the final vote was actually cast, and it was cast with a majority favoring no and not supporting giving the donation to PDC. But what came out of that, more importantly, was the final comments that Chris Meyer made.
Before we move on, I just have to make one comment, and that is that in 10 years I've never been this disappointed in a Common Council for completely failing to stand up to the requirements that they have in front of them. You're a governing body for a community that put money forward to build this facility, and tonight you took the chicken way out.
Now, we have seen throughout the years that Chris Meyer has been able to persuade council one way or another on a particular topic. And last night we saw leadership change. If this vote would have passed last night, you would have saw the contingency fund, which had a budget of $125,000, be drawn to nearly zero.
My other question for Steve is, if we were to approve this tonight, where would the $80,000 come from? If this were budget time, it'd be a no-brainer because there wouldn't be $80,000 available. So where would it come from now?
Yeah, that would be a question mark too. I believe, and I don't remember the exact amount, we generally have, that 120, 125,000 type of range for contingency. You've committed 13,500 tonight to the Farm Tech Days, and we've bookmarked 15,000 for the additional compensation as part of the salary study for those who are found to be below where they're supposed to be in their pay. That would seem to leave, roughly in the neighborhood of 80,000. But I would suspect that if you were to try and fulfill that full amount, we'd probably be looking at least some, if not all, the money coming from someplace else, perhaps borrowing. Because I don't think you'd want to be, at the end of April and have used your entire $120,000 of contingency.
And throughout the discussions, we saw Common Council concerned.
I guess I'll be the bad guy here. Get this thing going a little bit. I want to do this so bad, but I can't. Mr. Pinker said it well. Great idea. I so much want to help the people. But again, the list is going to be so long for the people coming to us. And they're all good organizations. Well, I wish I'd win the lottery because we would have all these things done if I could do that. But I just can't because there's going to be such a long line of people asking for funds from us.
Mr. Zaleski.
Yeah, and I will say mostly what Tom just said. And Renee, I have a special place in my heart for your organization, and certainly have helped in the past, and will help again for sure. But in this way, I agree with what Tom said, and the other. You mentioned other outside organizations. There is a list of things within the city that we've crossed off the list because of funding or lack of funding during the past few months, and so that weighs heavy with me as well.
Obviously, this is a really touchy subject, and it's very touching to people. And I had to consider this a lot, and I remember back in a meeting in February 23rd, actually, of I think 2016, when St. Vincents came to us with a one-time request of $100,000 also to help them. They came to the council. They had 2 members and their manager present to us. They also do fabulous services, much of which I was not even aware of, and the number of people they touch is unbelievable. I actually was in favor of helping St. Vincent's at the time, but I was unfortunately in the minority. The rest of my fellow council members, I went back, I watched the video, were all opposed, primarily because they said that this would set a precedence, giving to one organization that the handouts would just, we would have to make decisions on who we could give money to and who we couldn't.
Very quickly to respond to that, you're right. I completely agree with everything I said then and tonight. The difference in the big piece that was different then was that we were contributing tax dollars to a Catholic organization.
But what it really comes down to is, where does the city draw funds from, and how do we maintain fiscal responsibility? I'm Brandon Bonhoeffer, and that's the news.